What's going on, everybody? Just got off of work. Hope you guys are having a wonderful night slash morning, because I know it's midnight for some. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day and night. Shout out to Kid Cudi. If y'all don't mind, I would like you guys to ride with me home. Make sure I make it home safely for the sake of my family and myself. Just trying to provide. Make sure you subscribe to the Take It Home podcast. If you have not, if this is your first time looking at this live, make sure you subscribe. I am Chris Classic, also known as Classic Alpha, a professional wrestler of 13 years. I talk about wrestling situations, topics, some of them from the independent, some of them from major leagues, and even from my company with my wife, C3 Ultimate Wrestling, a company we've been running for 5 years. And we get an opportunity to get it back 100% August 30th at the show called The 11th Hour. So lots riding on the line. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, the Take It Home podcast, and also C3 Ultimate Wrestling. It's going to be great. As you guys are slowly but surely coming into the live to do a chat, I have a few unpopular wrestling opinions, some that I've talked about before, some I will be talking about for the first time. And I just wanted to talk about it because I did feel like it was a good topic. I know a lot of people go online and they talk about certain things, and sometimes people agree and sometimes people do not. So it's my turn. In the words of Skip Bayless. So I'm going to go with one of the first ones. I'm going to try to remember the thumbnail and the notes that I made today early. The first one, WrestleMania should be one night. Should not be 2 nights. Obviously, it's not going to change. I don't think it's going to change no time soon. They're getting double the money for WrestleMania. WrestleMania is the granddaddy of them all. One of the most important wrestling show ever, right? And the fact that they can do this 2 days in a row and be sell out and making records, it's great. I applaud that, obviously. But for me, at one point, I think that it should be just one night. I think it should just stay as one night. Sunday, I'd rather it's Sunday than Saturday. I understand why Saturday, because kids want to watch it, and obviously parents are going to let their kids go to bed at the normal time if it's on Sunday. So if you are going to change things, do change it to a Saturday. Wishful thinking, but we all know that they are not going to return to one nights on WrestleMania. That's just a lot of money for them and stuff like that. But since we are talking about WrestleMania, what's going on, Zachary? I hope everything is all right. Since we are talking about WrestleMania, so the first one I said was WrestleMania should stay as one night. It should not be 2 nights, but I doubt that that's going to ever happen because they're making record, they're making money, they're making bank. They talk about the gate. I don't think you should really talk about the gate at a wrestling event. Hey, you guys used to spend $300 on these tickets, but since you guys are dedicated fans and spent $3,000 on this, we made record profit of $1 million. They're not going to say, obviously, the gate, but still, WrestleMania to me should stay as one night. But business-wise, it's not a good decision, obviously, because they are making so much money. Some people are paying to go to WrestleMania for one night. Some are paid to see just Saturday, and then some paid Sunday. So you even still have that option. So, like I said, wishful thinking. Speaking of WrestleMania, I think matches like Money in the Bank and Hell in a Cell, they should be on WrestleMania. I don't think that those should have a pay-per-view for themselves, honestly. I do understand Money in the Bank having one because you have a male and a female version of it, but still, per se, they don't really need to be on a WrestleMania card. It could be on a Survivor Series card. It could be on a Royal Rumble. It could be in certain things. Obviously, they're not going to do it on Royal Rumble or Survivor Series because of War Games, but still, I do think that they were more special. I felt like they were better on Money in the Bank, WrestleMania. Now, like I said, women have their own versions of Hell in a Cells and Money in the Bank as well, and I do understand that. But still, just because the show is called, you don't need a pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell, in my opinion. Basically, you're saying a female and two females and two males, they have beef with each other at the same time, and they want to hash it out in a cage. That's okay. Like I did Bad Blood, right? And the only Hell in a Cell match was between Punk and Drew McIntyre, and it was a very good match because they had bad blood against each other. So I don't want to say that it has to happen at WrestleMania, but it can be a specialty match on other PLEs. I don't think you need to technically have a PLE called Hell in a Cell, and you have two matches from it. You know, I don't think you need it, but that's just my opinion. Money in the Bank is a little different, obviously, because you have male and female, and they can cash in on any championship or whatever like that. But to me, that's going to go into my next point. But still, to me, I think you can have a male version on this PLE and a female version on another PLE. You don't think you need to technically have a PLE for either one of those, right? Speaking of that kind of situation, and I hope I don't get canceled when I say this, I don't think the women need these kind of matches. I don't think they need a lot of these, right? Money in the Bank, okay, cool. But just to say Hell in a Cell just for the sake of it, I don't need it. There are some blood feuds with the women. I do understand that. And women can do great things. They are talented and stuff like that. They're making a lot of money. They are breaking records and things like that. But just because the males is doing it doesn't mean the females is doing it. Need to do it. And the other way around, you could say that as well. But I don't know if y'all are going to subscribe to just having just a female Hell in a Cell and not have a male one or whatever like that. So I did want to speak about that too. I think I've been genuinely honest about the situation, because some of the time it's just a here moment. Like here, this shit, right? The male version was, thought it was good, a couple slip ups, but then the female version was bad. Thing was, I thought it was good until I went back and watched it, and it was just the aesthetic of having this match where women was missing things and they was looking at each other, and then even how Nia Jackson Bailey started it was very crazy to me. It was very crazy to me. And let's remember, the losing team for War Games for the women, two of the women were the women's champions on the respective brands. So what does that say when the top women of your company is losing and they work together and stuff like that? And also it was a Money in the Bank winner who eventually cashed in on Nia, Tiffany Stratton. But still, it was just like, to me, I think it's what solidified it. Now, they've had some great women's matches, War Game matches. They've had a whole bunch of great matches that involve women with Hell in a Cell and ladder matches and stuff like that. But just because you can doesn't mean you should all the time. That's just my opinion on that. Sometimes it can be an over saturation. I'm trying to remember what happened. Was it Elimination? I started going to sleep on Elimination Chamber because he had two Elimination Chamber matches. And both matches were solid. They both were good. But man, you get fatigued, you get tired, because most of the time y'all open up a show with one of them and then you end the show with another one. So sometimes it's like putting a hat on a hat sometimes. Like, even thinking about like AEW sometimes is, what's up, man? What's going on? I've been talking about some unpopular wrestling opinions that's probably gonna make people roll their eyes or smack their teeth. What up, Arshawn? Basically, I talked about WrestleMania should go back to one night. I know that's not gonna happen. I also said they shouldn't have PLEs like Hell in a Cell where like men and women, they're doing it and stuff, because it's an oversaturation. I think those should be at other PLEs like Bad Blood, like how CM Punk and Drew had a good match. I don't think that they need to have like two of them, which I think is kind of ridiculous. I also talked about the horrible women's War Games match of last year that we had talked about many a times on the channel. So that's basically a synopsis so far of what I was saying. But even going to like AEW be having a lot of matches that is no holds barred, lights out matches, unsanctioned matches. They'll have this on like every pay-per-view they have. And I'm like, I'm not interested in that if everybody is there's no rules. Like, what's the point of this crazy anarchy? For what? Bragging rights? I'm just saying, it's just like when you do things more than once, sometimes it can get repetitive. So having a show start with a War Games match and then ending with a War Games match is kind of crazy. Same thing with Hell in a Cell and stuff like that. And it doesn't even matter that the matches are good sometimes. Sometimes it's just like, man, I'm tired. I've seen this. What else are y'all gonna do? That's why story is very important when it comes to those kind of things. Speaking of Survivor Series, since we're going down, I like that these unpopular opinions are going hand in hand because we're knocking all of them out the park. I miss the old school Survivor Series way. Random traditional teams, elimination tags. I miss that. That used to be one of my favorite pay-per-views at a time. I used to look forward to Survivor Series. They used to be every November or whatever like that, around Thanksgiving. I used to love it. War games, I think that they can retire it. I don't want to say retire it. Man, bring them back. Bring them back. Yes, sir. Bring them back. I miss that. That's like one of their first marquee pay-per-views too, by the way. I didn't know that. That's prestigious. And to me, to move from that tradition for War Games as a tribute to Dusty, I do believe, still, I think they've overdone it. I think that should be like a special thing. I think it should honestly be an NXT exclusive, especially because of all the contributions that Dusty has put in NXT and stuff like that. Let's honor him by putting that on NXT. I don't think we need to have that on WWE's theme. Bring back the old school. I remember they used to have the whole show was straight traditional elimination tags. And people are going to say I'm a hypocrite because I just talked about the Money in the Bank and the Hell in a Cell thing. But still, this is the thing. Hey, I don't like this person. Hey, this person neither. Let's jump them. And basically that's that's all you needed for that. That's all you needed. And before even the War Game stuff happened, they was already fizzling it out. They was like bragging rights, and then they was started doing the thing with like Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, where they were like trying to keep score, like who's the most dominant brand. Brand supremacy Survivor Series was good too, by the way. But then when they started incorporating NXT, they was like team this, team that, triple threat, that went to oversaturation for me. So now going back into it, and now every Survivor Series is a War Games that has 2 rings and cages all around it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired, Grandpa. I'm sick of them. I want the traditional Survivor Series match. Man, I so much stuff I want to say about that. Yeah, say retire. Foe versus foe, yes. Shout out to from the script, Yellow. Shout out to Kevin Young Sr. Like, I'm done. Like, it's not special anymore, and that goes back into the cage match. You open with one, and then you close with one, and then one of them, we're gonna always compare both. And people be like, just enjoy wrestling. No, I'm a consumer. I can talk about what I like and what I don't like, just like anybody else can. We're gonna always compare them. Some people say that the women's Money in the Bank matches be way better than the men's, and sometimes they do. Kevin Young scenes, hey man, he better not be. It's a lot right on the line. But still, going back into that situation, I do think that they need to go back to the old school thing. Like I said, I know they try to do something like called bragging rights and all that. That was like years ago, whatever like that. But like people do like the War Games aesthetic. I don't care much for it because when you see one, you see them all. And to make it every year, you get tired of it. Even AEW with Blood and Guts. I don't be checking in for no Blood and Guts match. They do everything that's seen them before. I'm so used to mixing up the War Games and the Blood and Guts matches, I be thinking they ain't near the same event sometimes. They do everything. Okay, and now what? Nothing wrong with the elimination tags. And I'm seeing a lot of other companies besides C3, they're starting to do this stuff more often, and they've been doing it because that's something that people liked. It's interesting. It's a wrench. Just like Money in the Bank aspect, right? You win the briefcase, and then now we don't know what's going to happen, who's going to be the next champion, when and where, and stuff like that. This is a spontaneous thing. Hey, what do you like? You like red or blue? Oh, blue, you're my enemy. Now you got to find other people who like blue over red, and we got to determine what's better. And like I said, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown was good. The NXT thing was okay, but it fizzled out. It fizzled out. And now we just need the old school stuff. He said confirmed. Arshaw confirmed. Y'all cutting up in the chat. But still, that's another one. I'm trying to think. Give me a second because I'm trying to remember it. I'm driving. I can't check nothing. A lot of matches are not special, but they got special stipulations. Yeah, I said it. So a lot of these matches it's blood, it's spikes, it's bats, it's barbed wire, it's a whole bunch of stuff. And it's not special because it's so much. And I can't sit here and say that's on one company because a lot of matches, a lot of companies, independent and mainstream, they both do them. And it's just not special anymore. And I think that's why people don't care for them. They're like, they just want to see traditional stuff. I think that's why some people want to see the traditional Survivor Series matches again. Like I said, you've seen one, you've seen them all. A couple things change. But most of the time, I can give you the layout of a War Games match. 4-on-4, 3 people on each team was in a cage. 2 people started, and then somebody, obviously previous before that, somebody gets the advantage. But it's never the advantage. The advantage is never used to the best of its ability. It is never used. Because as soon as somebody comes out, they're going to even the playing field. It doesn't matter if it's 3-2 or whatever. They're going to come in, they're going to be in the House of Fire. It's going to be the same layout every time. Then eventually, when everybody comes in, there's somebody's going to get on the top of the cage, and then somebody on the opposite side is going to get on the top of the cage. They may look at each other. Then they're going to jump at the same time for some reason. Same thing, Tiffany and EO did it. I'm like, all right, we're trying to win, right? Why in the world am I going to look at this person to see when they jump off on something? You know, why would I even do that? Why don't we just get out of the way? But it's just a signature spot. And then even with the War Games in itself, it's not a Survivor Series elimination style. They're fighting until the last person comes in there, and then one pinfall wins it all. So it's already too much. It's a hat on a hat. It's crazy to me. I don't hate War Games. I've seen it enough times in a row. Take it away. Yeah, I agree. Like, let it be something like every other year, every few years, and just keep it on NXT. Like, it's okay. It was on NXT first, and then it was like, hey, you know what? We're gonna make it do it this way. And then even Roman, Punk, and the Bloodline, that was cool, right? Let's not do it this year. Let's do traditional Survivor Series. You know, y'all brought back Saturday Night's main event, right? Let's do the traditional Survivor Series. I'm telling you, it's gonna be dope. People will like that. It gives other people opportunities. I know a lot of people be like, oh, well, such and such didn't get a chance to wrestle. If you do this with all of these teams and stuff, they get a chance to wrestle. You know what I'm saying? Makes a lot of sense. You put money in the bank and stuff on WrestleMania, that gives more people a chance to wrestle on WrestleMania and stuff like that. It works, man. It does work. But still, it's just me. Have the Survivor team up at the end of the night. Yeah, like, you know, you can just build up to just one team. Like I said, it don't even always have to be like the men and the women's and stuff like that, but still. But even then, going back into the special matches, like, this stuff is just not that special anymore. Because it's so often. And then sometimes it's our fault because we watch it and we look at this stuff and we're like, okay, well, we want to look at it and stuff, and then it's just to me, it's oversaturation. Like, to me, that's something that's supposed to make more people want to watch your content and stuff like that, but it is what it is. Trying to think before I go to anywhere else with it. Okay, here go one. This will probably be my last one. I think The Rock is going to do more harm than good with his involvement with WWE and with the TKO. I know he has a position in the TKO, but I think eventually in the long haul, on the wrestling standpoint, I think he's going to do more harm than good. Now, on a business standpoint, we're going to wait and see what happens. Because like I said, I made a video yesterday. I was like, I definitely do think that WWE is too comfortable having the survivors. I do think that WWE is getting a tad bit too comfortable with their success. Rock got to fall back. Say fall back after. Yes. I think that WWE is getting too comfortable. And I think that The Rock sees that. I think that TKO is seeing that. I think a lot of this stuff plays in a big part into how the stuff is going. Like I said, Backlash was better than WrestleMania. But at the same time, it was just some things that seemed like would have been Vince-esque. back in the day, a few years ago, not too far removed, when something bad happened, or if you didn't agree with it, people was like, well, Vince's fault. It's Vince. Vince is old and senile. And that may be true, but now you can't blame that on Vince. Now you got to blame it on Paul. You got to blame it on Dwayne. You got to blame it on TKO. You got to blame it on a lot of stuff, but you cannot blame it on the guy that can't even get in the club. You can't even get in. So how in the world is y'all going to say that? Backlash sucked. What up, Robert Brown? Hope everything's all right. What's going on? I don't know. I told you this before. What WrestleMania don't do. Yeah, WrestleMania definitely. 40 was way better than 41. And like I said, I just think they just got too comfortable. The storylines, like Road to WrestleMania, that means that stuff used to be built for months. Some things was literally around the corner from WrestleMania. Okay, we're going to book this because of something, of anything. It just wasn't that special to me. And I think that goes into even Backlash. I think that WWE is just getting too comfortable. The Rock is talking on the Pat McAfee show, saying stuff that the fans didn't even ask for, and saying, oh, well, this is going to happen down the line, and oh, I would have did it this way. Like, I understand wrestling is exposed beyond its wildest belief and dreams and everything. But still, it's like, that doesn't mean that you have to add fuel to the fire. I think that if wrestlers continue to keep the curtain closed, we wouldn't have this problem. When you have one of the wrestlers who are one of the most popular and best in the world turning around saying stuff, and then people is just okay. It's crazy to me. But the same guy that did a closed elimination chamber, beating up Cody and siding with Cena, acting like the final boss, then be like, oh, I hope you guys like what I did. That's doing harm to the wrestling business. Now, as a wrestling business as a whole, it's only time will tell if people are still going to buy these tickets and stuff like that and want to see this stuff. Because let's be honest here, people want to see The Rock, regardless. I know people probably bought WrestleMania tickets to see The Rock, and all they saw was The Rock on a t-shirt saying finally he's made it to WrestleMania, and he didn't show up. And then he threw the company who he's on the board for under the bus by saying he would have did something different. That's not what you need to tell the public, Dwayne. Come on, Dwayne. Come on now. That's why people calling you Hogan now, man. They call you. I ain't calling you Hogan. I said they calling you Hogan because you're doing stupid stuff. And I think that this is going to I just think it's just bad. Because also I know a lot of other companies are going to try to follow suit. We're not following suit. We basketball shorts over here. Okay, that was kind of corny. I'm sorry. And I still committed to saying that. But we're not following suit with our stuff. Our stuff is our stuff. Straight up. Great wrestling. We are doing authentic wrestling over here. WWE still has an opportunity to do it, but I don't think that The Rock should be our spokesperson at all. It's bad enough that y'all already got this show called Unreal, and the more I think about it, I do see that that's probably something that The Rock and probably TKO wanted to do over Paul and them, because I don't think that that's a good idea. Like, to me, y'all are multi-million, close to billion, if y'all not at the $1 billion mark, and y'all basically gonna do stuff that people are gonna try to do. Like, imagine us knowing the Krabby Patty secret formula. And people are going to watch it. They're going to eat it up. They want to understand how it works and stuff like that, because the wrestling, not just WWE, wrestling in a whole has given people a sense of entitlement when it comes to certain things. And if anything, I blame more the wrestlers and promoters, because people be so thirsty to sell a ticket. They'll sell their soul. They'll sell their soul quicker than they'll sell a ticket, because they want the viral stuff. They want the moments and stuff like that. So now when WWE has a show talking about, oh, well, we're going to pull the curtain back, and we're going to talk about this and that, and then people taking pictures of the board that they had when they was writing down stuff for WrestleMania. This is something that can change the landscape, but like I said, when you have stuff like C3 and stuff with the authentic and all of that real stuff and relatable stuff, this is why you got to tune into that. And I'm not sitting here saying you got to stop watching WWE. I'm definitely not saying that at all, to each their own or whatever like that. But still, I do think The Rock is going to do more damage than he's going to do good. Now, I'll say it like this. I think he's going to do more damage to the wrestling business, but it's too early to tell what he's going to do financially for the company, because the company's breaking financial records. Still selling tickets, still doing this, merchandise, people number one selling stuff, carrying crosses, selling a lot of shirts and stuff like that. People are going to do it. It's like, hey, this is what we want to do, and if you want to do it, then you got to pay for it. And that's exactly how they're doing it. And I can't sit there and say I'm not upset with it, but still, I do think he'll do more harm than good. What's going on, Robert Brown?
Girl, nasty.
What is my wife listening to? Anyway, Paul and Dwayne, Lafayette, what up, Robert Brown? I don't know if, okay, we talk about backlash. Paul and Dwayne don't care about the business now. I think Paul cares more about it, but Paul can only do so much because he has play. I'm about to, Marshawn. I'm about, I'm about to get in the house. But still, I think that Paul does have say so. He just doesn't have final say so. Because of TKO on the board, TKO owning 51% of the company, you don't really have a final say so. You don't really have a final say so if you got 49% of the company. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what contract you printed out. I don't care what you signed. Stop it. I don't care what you signed. I don't care about none of that stuff. If you only have 49% of your company, you do not have the final say. I do not care. I don't care. So with even Paul, it hurt my heart to see him talk about, oh, well, we're going to pull the curtain back and stuff like that. But who knows? This might have been in the works for a long time. But like I said, you would have thought that wrestlers running the company and stuff like that would be like a breath of fresh air. But now it seems like they getting comfortable and they just saying and doing anything. I want to go into stuff more, but I'm definitely going to go in the house because I did make it home safely, thank God. But I don't know. We got to talk about before, not today, maybe tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow. Maybe we're going to talk about John Cena's heel turn. I think we need to talk about it. I think we need to break it down a little bit. And I do think that we need to talk about it because there's definitely some smart problems I have, but it could be by their design. But like I said, I made it home. Thank you guys for rocking with me. Make sure you guys have a great night and morning. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.